Let's talk about the reservations now that you're going to need in order to enter Glacier National Park. This is a common thing that the national parks are dealing with now, is that they're trying to manage the crowds. So not only do you need to buy your park pass, which is $35 for a week, or if you get an annual pass, you can visit all the parks for $80. If you're a senior, you can get an $80 pass for the rest of your life. If you have a fourth grader, you can get a free pass. There's some things like that if you're a veteran. That's the cost to enter the park. But then Glacier also requires reservations. You actually have to get online and on recreation.gov and obtain a reservation for the days you are going to visit. So all sections of the park now require a reservation. This is as of 2023. So these things change from year to year. This could change in the future, but going into 2023, all of those 5 valleys that I mentioned, those 5 entrances, require reservations. They work a little differently. Like the Going to the Sun Road is the west entrance and the St. Mary's entrance on the east side. If you have a Going to the Sun Road reservation, it's good for 3 days. The other valleys, like Many Glacier, Two Medicine, and North Fork, those are only good for a day. So if you want to visit those for more than 1 day, you're going to need to get more than the one reservation there. The reservation system applies between 6 o'clock in the morning and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Now that was the case this year, 2022 when we visited. It started at 6 o'clock, the reservation did, for the Going to the Sun Road. We stayed in the park at Lake McDonald Lodge, and we were driving up to go to Logan Pass that morning, and we started our drive at, I think, 6?
Yes, we were up
6
early.
or 6:15 or something like that. We started super early, and there was a line of cars going up there already, which meant everybody was entering in before 6 o'clock. So there was a bunch of people getting up really early and driving into the park. I imagine that'll be the case again this year. So you can do that if you want to. Just be aware.
Chaos.
It was
nuts.
wild. Yep, and so much so that when we got up to the top at Logan Pass, that parking lot was already full. That parking lot can fill up by 6 o'clock in the morning, believe it or not.
But here's a little ninja tip for you.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 o'clock and after, you don't need a reservation. And that's actually a great time to go see the park because, first of all, Glacier doesn't get that hot. It tops out in the 80s in the middle of summer. That's the hottest it gets. Also, magical Montana summers, you have a lot of sunlight. Like, we used to be blown away that 10 o'clock the sun was still up when we lived in Montana. And so those are a couple good things you have going for you. If you weren't able to get a reservation on the Going to the Sun Road, is that you can still enjoy a lot of the park after 3 o'clock. And most people are pretty ambitious. They get up before 6 and they're trying to get their way in if they don't have a reservation. I've noticed at other national parks, things are mellowing out in the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, everybody thinks you need to hit it early. No harm in hitting it later. Mm-hmm. Okay, one other thing to know about the reservation system is that if you have a reservation for a hotel, for a campsite, or for a commercial activity such as a horseback ride or a boat ride, then you do not need to get one of those advanced reservations to enter that area of the park. It'll work for you. Okay, so what that means is that if you're going to stay at Lake McDonald Lodge, then you don't need to get a pass to go on the Going to the Sun Road for that day that you're staying at the lodge. That's kind of one way maybe to get around the reservation system a little bit. I do want to give a word of warning or a little word of caution about this. The gal that we worked with to help make our guide, a friend that we've made who lived in Glacier for 8 years and really knows the park inside and out. She worked as a boat captain there for a long time. And she told us that what a lot of people were doing were making reservations for a boat ride just so that they could get into that area of the park that day, but they had no intention of going on that boat ride at all, and they just kind of stood them up. I would really encourage you not to do that. I think that's pretty rude. The tour companies really don't like it. They have talked to the park about not doing this system that way because it's really inconvenient for them that people do this. Sorry, I needed to give that little pitch because I do think it's extremely rude for people to go make a reservation just to no-show.
The other thing I wanted to make really clear is that having a reservation to one area of the park doesn't mean you can go to another. Like, they have specific reservations for specific areas of the park. So for example, if you're staying at Lake McDonald Lodge that night, you can't go over to Mini Glacier without having a reservation for Mini Glacier. So once again, you can get online, and they're inexpensive. They're about $2 per vehicle or per reservation. So they're not expensive, but you do have to get on and get those. And you need to make sure that you have them for the right days at the right time, which really makes it pretty important that you know where you're going which day. I think now, I feel it's a little sad that it's like this, but it's also true that our national parks have kind of turned into something that you do need to plan for. You need to get your lodging in advance, and you need to know what you're doing what days, especially with this new reservation system.
Just one other thing is that there are 2 windows to get the general reservations to get into the park. So they open up 3 months in advance on one window, and then the other window is like a day before window. We're not going to go into real heavy details on all that stuff. Just look for the information, the details on the National Park website, the official nps.gov website, and then also recreation.gov. So that is where you'll actually book it. So most of these national parks, they're now moving over to use this recreation.gov to manage campsites and these vehicle reservations and whatever else. So go to those sites for more details.
And I just did want to mention too that we do sell an itinerary to go see Glacier that tells, like, it's divided by days. And so it'd be really easy to just get that itinerary and be like, okay, we're going to Mini Glacier this day and 2 Medicine this day. And that way you already know which day you're going to which place in the park.